Next, it's a light sentence for the drunk driver who killed a beloved reporter. A congressman to the rescue of a woman hiding out in a church. A congresswoman who says America needs another 9/11-style commission on Russia. A correction to our reporting by a 7-year-old expert. The removal of the rock that wrecked car after car. Embarrassingly affectionate love for our home on 303 Day. And no Friday ends without your good news on Next.
If Colleen O'Connor had written about what happened today, her article would have been filled with kindness and insight, just like everything else that she wrote for the Denver Post. But it was a colleague who had to write the story about the sentencing today for the drunk driver who killed Colleen O'Connor as she crossed the street in August. Jesus Carreno had a blood alcohol level of .206, way above the legal limit. Today he was sentenced to 6 years in prison. That was the maximum sentence in this case under his plea deal to vehicular homicide, reckless driving, and a charge of DUI. Connor's friend talked to us outside the courtroom about the lesson that America refuses to learn about drinking and driving.
You know what? The first person I lost to a DUI was my cousin, and that was in the 1970s. So what I'm saying is we have a responsibility to one another to do the right thing and step up when we see people who've had too much to drink.
As part of his plea deal, Carreno will be up for probation as early as July 3rd. If he doesn't cause any trouble in prison, he'll likely be let out on probation. He told the court today he wishes that it was him in the street that day. We have told you about Jeanette Vizguera, the woman here illegally who's currently taking sanctuary in a church in Denver as she faces deportation. Democratic Congressman Jared Polis marched down there today to defend Vizguera and to light up an immigration enforcement agent by name with an unproven charge.
There's a rogue ICE agent named Jeff Lynch who has broken with the protocol of ICE, broken with what the agency normally does, and has basically refused to grant Jeanette a deferral for deportation order, even though it's already been granted twice before for a year each time.
The agent being singled out by Congressman Polis is the acting head of the Denver ICE office. Vizguera is in trouble here because she has a misdemeanor for using a fake Social Security number for trying to get work. Until recently, she'd been allowed to avoid deportation because she qualified for legal status under a U visa. That's a visa for victims of crime who cooperate with American law enforcement. Our politics guy, Brandon Ritteman, was there today and pressed Polis for proof of this going rogue claim.
How do you know, Congressman, that he's a rogue agent and not just carrying out what the new administration would prefer happen?
Well, we certainly hope that that's not the case. The guidance that comes forward from ICE has been to generally, in cases like Jeanette's, issue stays. If they are making a change, then we will fight that change. But at least for now, the actions of Jeff Lynch are inconsistent with the direction of the agency.
This whole thing today appears to be pressuring ICE into some kind of public explanation. ICE did not respond to our requests for more information today. We hope that they'll get back to us so that we can share that with you. Congresswoman Diana DeGette of Denver isn't satisfied that Attorney General Jeff Sessions is recusing himself from investigating Donald Trump's campaign ties with Russia.
Well, I think that the fact that Attorney General Sessions recused himself from the investigation shows that even he realizes his answer was evasive and vague at best. We still need to get to the bottom of why he was talking to the Russian ambassador and what they were talking about. I really think we need to have at least a 9/11 type of independent commission to get to the bottom of this.
President Trump is still backing Sessions. There's no sign that the AG is even considering resignation. Colorado's senators, Republican and Democrat, Sessions' former colleagues who really could put the pressure on here, are not calling on him to go.
I'm Steve Steger. There are a lot of strong opinions out there about President Trump's travel ban and its impact on refugees entering this country. One that caught our attention came from the pen of a 9-year-old girl from Stapleton.
Dear Mr. President, my name is Alona Hyman. I go to school at Westerly Creek Elementary, and I am in the 4th grade. I volunteer with a very kind refugee family, and I love spending time with them in my free time. I wanted to share that with the president because I heard it's banned, and I don't really think that's okay. There are 6 children in this family. All of them are from Afghanistan. They had to leave Afghanistan 20 years ago due to a war. I really think helping refugees is important because it's just like they they just need a little bit more help than us because something happened in their country. Several years ago, their dad died and the mom is parenting 6 kids on her own. The mom has lost touch with her family in Afghanistan, so she hasn't seen them since she left Afghanistan 20 years ago. I think it depends on the person's point of view. I think, in my opinion, refugee will never be a bad word. It will always be a word that will bring me joy. I have made my best memories with them, and I will forever treasure these memories. They are my closest and best friends, and I love spending time with them. He has a lot of mail. He'll probably read it, maybe put it into some consideration. I hope that now you might rethink banning refugees from the U.S., and you will put my thought into consideration. Thank you for reading my letter.
Alona grew up in Israel. She worked in refugee camps with her parents when she lived there. She's not sure if the president will respond. She just hopes he reads it and thinks of that letter before issuing a new travel ban.
Thoughtful kid. Thank you, Steve. All right, time for our daily check on the struggle train. Is the 8 line working today? Sort of. Can't blame the train, though, that somebody hit the crossing gates at the Dahlia station and caused the delays. It's not the train's fault. But if you're a frustrated passenger or a driver who's sitting, waiting at a crossing, a delay's a delay, as our friend Tammy would say.
The crossing guard's like, what the
Come on, you piece of
We welcome videos of your A-line commentary. Just know if you got a salty mouth like Tammy, we're going to bust out the bleeper on you. This remains a family show. If you judge Next or any news program by the number of minor nuisances in the community that it resolves, we are getting some results, people, because overnight, the Target rock disappeared. That boulder in the median at Colorado Mills, the one that drivers kept hitting and getting high-centered on, they blamed the rock. Most of you blame the drivers. But we are getting several reports a day on crashes with the rock. And it was Next viewer Ashley Kingsley who first wrote to us this morning to say the rock was gone. Mike and Bob Kingsley were headed up skiing and stopped to see the infamous rock they'd heard all about on TV. And it had vanished. We picked on Colorado Mills for a kind of clunky PR statement a week ago. Today they delivered us a winner, writing, quote, "These rolling stones moved onto a new location at Colorado Mills earlier today, just a stone's throw away in part of the property that's blocked from vehicle traffic. We wish them well in retirement." Well played, Colorado Mills. And listen, people, do not pretend like this completely solves the problem. It takes 2 to tango. A rock and a driver who isn't seeing objects several feet tall right there next to the road. So be aware of your blind spots and drive carefully, because Next can't go around removing rocks and putting padding on every single sharp corner in life. Target Rock, you will live on in a safe place at Colorado Mills and in the hearts of children like Keegan, a 9-year-old Next viewer who crafted a Lego tribute to the rock that impacted so many.
Next, a newspaper offers an unusual apology. We head to the zoo, where medical care requires a degree of coercion.
You get into wildlife, it's not a perfect science.
And a correction to our report on a turtle from a 7-year-old viewer who knows a lot about turtles.
They could actually bite you or cause diseases to you.
We're going to learn some stuff next.
The Colorado Springs Gazette is apologizing for its sassy slap at the Denver Post this week. On the first day of Lent, the Gazette tweeted, "What are you giving up this year? We suggest the Denver Post." It was our Shade of the Day segment and raised a lot of eyebrows, especially among journalists. And today, the Gazette tweeted, "On March 1st, we referred to giving up the Denver Post for Lent. It was intended to be playful, but should not have been done. We apologize." It must be embarrassing when your birth control failure makes the evening news, but I'm guessing that the Denver Zoo giraffes don't watch TV. And the zoo employees were more than happy to explain how a surprise giraffe birth managed to happen. While the whole world was distracted by that New York giraffe on the internet, still no baby, Dobby surprised us at the Denver Zoo on Tuesday morning. Giraffes are pregnant for 15 months, but the zoo didn't know that Dobby's mom was expecting until quite recently. We were told that it had to do with a birth control failure. Naturally, we wanted to know what the heck giraffe birth control is and why it didn't work.
It's not a perfect science because they don't develop giraffe birth control and lion birth control and hyena birth control. So you're using things that are for similar species, but not necessarily specific to an individual species.
This is not funny. Stop laughing at this. Dobby's first week among us has not been without some concern. He needed a plasma transfusion because he wasn't getting enough good stuff out of his mother's milk. Plasma came from a giraffe at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo down in the Springs. Animals at both zoos are actually trained to help with their medical needs. That's a hyena that knows how to open its mouth for a dental exam. How about that? And they even learn how to sit still for physical therapy.
We can visually inspect them. We can look at their teeth. We can give them injections, we can draw blood, we can treat wounds. Pretty much everything you would bring your dog to the vet for is what our training program is about.
You saw Heather's job title there, behavioral husbandry. So yes, it's pretty much the same as humans, training the men how to actually be helpful around the place. You know, it was a 20-second story on Next. You would think that I could get through it without making an error. But this week I said that the pet turtle that deputies rescued from a car crash on Vail Pass was found frozen and later revived. A turtle expert reached out to us about that. Joined now by 7-year-old turtle expert Elijah Bosworth of Aurora to correct the record on our story from earlier this week about the turtle that I said, Elijah, was frozen up on Vail Pass. And you're telling me this turtle wasn't actually frozen?
Correct.
What was it?
It was hibernating.
It was hibernating?
Yes.
And how do you know that?
Well, because I saw it on a documentary.
How did you get so smart about turtles?
Well, I was mainly looking in the books and on the internet.
Do you have a favorite kind of turtle?
No.
You like them all?
I love all aquatic turtles, mud turtles, swamp turtles, sea turtles, and tortoises.
Do you have a pet turtle?
No. We're still thinking.
Oh. Do you want a pet turtle?
Yes, but we have to think about it.
That's very good. That's very diplomatic. That's very diplomatic.
Also, mating can look strange with tortoises as well.
Please go on. What does that mean?
Well, it doesn't exactly look like how most animals mate.
Okay.
Like sometimes it's fighting and then another male comes in and gets the female.
Mm-hmm.
For sea turtles, it's more of just like the one male clings on to the female's shell,
mm-hmm.
while like a lot of other males trail behind her and biting the male's flippers.
Aye. This is all very exciting and very adult stuff. 7-year-old Elijah Bosworth of Aurora, thank you for coming in to correct our story about turtles.
You're welcome.
I think you might be the smartest kid in Colorado. What do you think?
Next, we meet Colorado's Miss Amazing.
I was institutionalized by the time I was in 3rd grade.
A rocky life, now topped with a tiara. Denver sells off a chunk of its bison herd. And we celebrate 303 Day the only way we know how, with embarrassing displays of love for the place we call home. Next.
The most Colorado thing we saw today was a bison auction. Next is to introduce you to Matt Brown, caretaker of Denver's bison herd up at Genesee Park, right next to I-70 there. And today, 22 of the bison from that herd were auctioned off to ranchers across the country. The city made nearly $60,000. That is a record for the city's bison auction. And the money's used to care for the 56 bison left up at Genesee and Daniels Park. And Matt Brown's now raising more bison to be auctioned next year. Happy 303 Day, 3rd day of the 3rd month. Time to celebrate our state and all that makes it great. My tie indicates exactly how I plan to celebrate this evening. 303, Colorado's original and only area code created back in 1947 before the addition of 719 and 970. And next, you know, we kind of celebrate Colorado every day here. You know that, but we will proudly fly the flag today And remember some of our favorite only in Colorado moments that we've celebrated here, like the pizza shop owner from Vail who delivered pizzas to drivers stranded on I-70 in a snowstorm. Delivered them wearing shorts. And then there was the woman who turned her Jeep's odometer into a numbers game as she ticked off each of Colorado's zip codes as the Jeep hit 80,000 miles. And the mutton-bustin' failure to launch when a kid tried his hand on an uncompliant sheep and was picked up by the belt to be taken to another mount. We love you, Colorado. Happy 303 Day. You could list what Savannah Overturf has going against her in life: autism, epilepsy, schizophrenia, Tourette's. Or you could list off what she has going for. She's been crowned Miss Amazing Colorado 2017, and she tells us she wants to use that new title to help other uniquely abled women like herself.
When I was born, I was labeled failure to thrive. I had a feeding tube till my first year. I have the schizophrenia, the Tourette's, the autism, and then the epilepsy is why I have the service dog. I'm Savannah Overturf, and I am 24 years old. I never thought of it as like a big word before, I guess. I'd use it and be like, oh, that's amazing, or oh yeah, that's amazing. But now looking at the pageant itself, like seeing what people can do with the word itself is a big thing. I really like it. It shows that I was able to do something I didn't think possible. No, I've never gotten like a trophy. And they said my name and I was like, wait, did they say my name? And they came over, and they put your sash on, and they gave you the trophy. And I remember it, but it's all like a dream for me. My mom, I think, has pushed a lot of strength on me and like shown me what I can do. I really don't think anyone truly has a disability. I mean, they may have a unique ability that's different from anyone else. Given the time or given the right opportunity, every single person can do something. It was a nice way to show people that I'm here and what I have to say is important.
You just want to stand and cheer for Savannah, who hopes to represent Colorado in the National Miss Amazing pageant in Chicago in August. Your good news brings us home every Friday night, right after we learn another fun fact about turtles from next turtle expert Elijah Bosworth.
The leatherback sea turtle's eggs are 40 millimeters big.
How do you know that?
I searched it up on the internet.
We always look forward to Fridays because it means we get to hear your good news.
Life is beautiful. You know, you got the sunshine. I'm less fortunate, but that's cool.
My good news is now I finished my writing final exam and I'm doing very well.
My father is retiring this year after working for around 45 years. He's 65 years old and he worked for the post office in Minnesota and he's retiring, so I'm really, really happy about that.
Yesterday was my first day at work, so it's pretty exciting.
Well, my good news is I decided back in September that I wanted to move to Denver, Colorado, and by February I did.
Yep.
So that's my good news.
Yeah.
Good news, the gospel, man, the good news. I got friends like my buddy here, and everything's right with the world.
We are engaged and we're looking to get married pretty soon here, so that's also some good news.
That's also some amazing news.
Yeah.
Everyone and their mother loves Elijah the Turtle Kid. Some feedback on the show. Doug Arnold says, bring back the real 6 p.m. news. Craig Farr says, I think next is the most entertaining 30 minutes on all TV. Well, you know the rule. Tie goes to the runner, and we're always hustling. So we'll see you next time.